Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, USA Global TV and Radio watchers and listeners.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at dianefloydboehm.com. Visit dianefloydboehm.com. That's dianefloydboehm.com. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, USA Global TV and Radio. I am Mariska du Preez, and I am your host here on Talking Heads. And it is lovely to be with you guys again for this very interesting episode where we will be looking at our inner critic and how to work with, or rather not let them work for us. So, what is all of this about? Now, for those of you that has had some experience within the therapy environment, you might have come across this concept of the drama triangle. Now, the drama triangle is a way to look at our behavior and how we go into behavior that does not serve us. And within our workplace, within our teams, this might show up in different ways as well. Now, what's typical within that space? Well, we have some people that might go into victim. So we feel that the whole world is against us. Our inner voice has this tendency to say, well, everybody doesn't like us. It is just the worst thing ever on the planet. It's not even worth trying. It's no matter what I try, it will never get better. I can't see a positive outcome for this at all. Then one of the other elements of that triangle is being a prosecutor. So when we prosecute, we go and we tell somebody that they did something wrong. We tell them that they're the worst person ever. We basically prosecute them for whatever the thing is that didn't happen, we feel didn't happen, whatever the case might be. And then the other place of our triangle, so the last leg of the triangle, is looking at the hero or the rescuer. And we might think, oh, rescuer, that sounds like a good thing. Well, technically not. Because when we're in that rescuer space, we look to fix other people. We see how they can do things better, and we want to rescue them. We want to help them out of that space. And that, for a lot of people, mean that we actually take over whatever the thing is that the other person is struggling with. So that can take them into victim, as well as it can possibly take them into prosecutor. So when we think about any of the dynamics within our environments where we see ourselves showing up as not our best self, it's most probably because one of these three areas have been activated. And when it is activated for one person, the likelihood is that it will also be activated for the other person or group of people that we work with. Now, thinking of ourselves as a leader, this would not be ideal. So if we have activated our rescuer, for instance, we think this is something good that we want to do for the team. We want to save them from themselves. We see that there's going to be a big problem coming up on the horizon, and we want to help them. So we're going to rescue them from themselves. Now, when we do that, one of the things that we are inhibiting is we are inhibiting them to come up with innovative ideas around how we can actually solve this problem. And they might go into being a prosecutor of the environment, of the specific system that they need to work in. So say, for instance, we have change management that we are going through, and we know some of the system really, really well, and the rest of that, our team still need to sort of figure out how the system works, what works best for them. They might still be used to a different system. They might still be in a place where they are figuring out how this actually works for them. So if we come across a problem and that problem we can see that there's going to be some negative impact. And we take that out of our team's hands and rescue them by doing it ourselves. When we think about that situation, what are we actually doing? One, our team is not learning because our team does not have the opportunity to do so. We took the work away. We rescued them. And two, we are also burdening ourselves with additional work that is not ours to be doing. As a leader, our function is to support our team, to enable our team to do the work to their best capability, not ours. So by rescuing them, we are taking key pieces away from our team. Now, of course, if we as a leader go into victim or prosecutor, we can almost logically see how that would be a very bad place for us to be as a leader or even as a team member. And this happens at work, at home, in life, everywhere, in loads of our different relationships. So the question then becomes, if this is what happens, how do we flip that? How can we move ourselves to another way of thinking about this in order for us not to get trapped in this yucky drama triangle space? And the way to flip that is from a very cool little book. It's not a very thick book. And it's called TED, The Empowerment Dynamic. So already, just in the words, we hear that we're going to empower, well, not only ourselves, but also our larger team. And how does this work? Now, when we look at our drama triangle, there's corresponding points in the empowerment triangle. So when we look, for instance, at our victim space, for it to become empowerment, we become a creator. So we need to realize that we are not the victim of circumstances. We can take that power, because if we are a victim, if we go from that space, we literally giving our power away to others. We are saying, you know what? I don't know what's best for me. I'm going to give it to you. That's what we do when we are victim. When we fall into that trap, that's where our thinking goes. We think that other people, deep down, know better than we do. So taking our power back and realizing that it's our responsibility as to how we're going to interact and react to this situation, to this relationship, within this conversation. And when we realize that and we change it, we flip it over, we become the creator. We can then be more intentional with what it is that we are doing, with how it is that we show up, and who we are being in that environment, in that relationship, or in that circumstance that we have. So we can then create. So becoming a creator is taking the reins back and saying, I am responsible for me and my actions. And because I am responsible for me and my actions, I can choose how I want to have this thing responded to. The other one, when we look at prosecutor, its flip side is challenger. Now, how does the challenger work? The prosecutor looks at all the negative things and pushes down. So what the prosecutor does is the prosecutor actually try to sort of ground everything into the ground, right? They are trying to make it less. Whereas the challenger try to improve it. They try to make it more. And therein lies the difference. When we challenge, and I know for a lot of people, especially if they have some form of people pleaser playing around with them, or an avoider playing around within their saboteur space, this is definitely a challenger perspective, is one of the more difficult ones. And when we think about challenge, it is not about challenging the person. It is about challenging the idea in order for us to get the best outcome. So that's where the challenge comes in. I am looking at building on what we already have to make it better. And I'm doing this by highlighting what might not be working well and giving an opportunity for it to be improved. So not only pointing out this doesn't work and this doesn't work and this doesn't work and that's it, end of story. This doesn't work, and how can we make it better? There's a fundamental difference in the way that we approach it and the way that we think when we go from challenger. So that's where the challenger portion comes in within our empowerment triangle. Then the last one around rescuer, which most people think, yeah, that's a pretty decent one, and as per our example earlier, might not be, is the coach. So going back to our example, we have a team. They are going through some changes, learning new processes and systems. We already know what the processes and systems are like. We have a good idea. We've been functioning with them for some time. And we are picking up on them fairly fast. How do we go from rescue it, taking it away from them, and doing it ourselves to coach? And this is literally where coaching skills come in. Now, some of the coaching skills that we need within the space is listening, to start off with, in order for us to understand exactly what it is that these guys are struggling with. And questions. We don't want to take it away from them. As soon as we provide an answer or a suggestion, it means we are taking the thing away. We know best. We know better. And that's not what we want to do. That's not beneficial to the other person in order for them to figure it out for themselves, for them to learn what they can learn from this situation or the environment that they are finding themselves in. So questions. And when I'm speaking about questions, and we did a specific episode on questions, when I speak about questions, especially when we're coaching our team, where we want people to grow and explore, we want open questions. And the listening is important, right? So in the coaching space, listening and questions, they go hand in hand, they go together. Because if we ask the question and we don't take the time to listen, the question means nothing. So we need to be able to listen and create space for that. Yes, we might have 1,000 things going on in our own head and 1,000 ways how to solve this problem. As soon as we solve the problem, we're rescuing. We are taking it from them. And that's what we don't want to be doing. We want to be the coach. We want to make sure that they think about the solution to the problem. And only after they have thought about the solution to the problem that they can implement, then we can move to challenger if we see that maybe there's a few things they didn't consider. So pointing at the things that maybe might not have been considered in a questioning way. So it might be that the team didn't consider a longer time frame, or they might not have considered a certain product or a specific supplier or client that we have. So challenging in the form of a question, in the sense of, okay, so what suppliers do we need to take into consideration for this to actually work? Or what time frames makes sense for us to implement this? So challenging with the coach, so that having both of them, we can also be able to create a space for our team to grow and become better themselves. Now, all of these things have a tendency it can show up externally, and it shows up internally for ourselves. So when we get into that drama triangle, it is internal conversations that we have with ourselves. And that means that we can also utilize our empowerment triangle for ourselves. And really think about, well, if I am, for instance, if I'm thinking about doing a specific project and maybe some of the things didn't quite work out the way that I thought it would, I can prosecute myself for it, right? Our judge, our internal judge, and this is through the positive psychology research that's been done, we noticed that there are the 9 saboteurs and the judge. We all have a judge of some form, and our saboteurs, depending on how we made them up for us to survive our childhood coming into the world, it might have shown up for us differently. Now, it doesn't really matter how great our childhood were, because for us as little human beings, we want to protect ourselves, and that's where these guys came in. Now, they are part of these voices that do get into the inner critical space. And when we stay in the drama triangle, we feed them. We literally, it is the story of the two wolves. If we feed the black wolf, it's going to grow and get stronger. And if we feed the white wolf, it's going to grow and grow stronger. So what we want to do is we want to take the food and give it to our empowerment side. We want to empower ourselves and see when it is that we're challenging ourselves. We see the mistake we made and we want to learn from it. So what's the lesson? Not, oh, you made a mistake, it's the worst thing ever, because that's not helpful. And taking responsibility, so being the creator, taking responsibility of what happened and seeing what we personally can do different to change the outcome. Because there's always something that we can learn or do that would help to change how we interact and how we perceive the specific thing that we went through, that experience. And then, of course, being a coach for ourselves, having our questions, and making sure that the questions we ask ourselves is not necessarily a why question to get reasons, because with a reason, we can go back into our drama triangle. We can go into victimhood. We can go into prosecuting ourselves. So we want not to have the reason, we want to have a solution. We want to learn from it. And that is more around our what questions. What can we do different for next time? What can we learn from what we went through? What do we want this conversation to look like in order for us to grow our team or to grow this relationship that we have with a specific individual within our team? Maybe we have a new hire. So understanding the type of questions we ask ourselves will also make a difference to the type of reactions and the type of answers we get, in order for us to not go into our drama triangle where the saboteurs love to just keep us there, but actually go into our inner strength and our inner sage space in order for us to empower ourselves and our teams to do and create so much more within our own space. So this is a place where we can self-reflect and see how much time we spend on either side, whether we are more in our drama triangle in the areas where we function, and where we are within our empowerment triangle. And where do we want to be? As a human being, what feels good? Now, typically, I don't think there's a lot of people that would say that the drama triangle feels good. And in saying that, if we have been swimming in that toxicity for a long, long time, it is difficult to move into clearer spaces for us to actually be doing this. And that is where great techniques such as meditation, yoga, exercise, all of those things help us to get out of the space where our brain is really dragging us down by the means of the saboteurs, versus us having a clear place for us to be creative within the space that we operate. And that is how we manage our inner critic, so that we can take the food away from the space that does not serve us and give it to the area that does, in order for us to be creative, whole, healthy, and thriving human beings. So I would love to hear from you what your key takeaways were from this lesson today, and of course, all the other lessons that we also have available that you can find on our YouTube channel, or alternatively going to usaglobaltv.com. And if you would like to reach out or find out a little bit more about me, you can do so via my email address, which is mariska@journey2discover.com, or alternatively, you can find me on LinkedIn, send me a little note, and I would love to start the conversation with you, and of course, answer any questions that you might have. Until next time, enjoy exploring.